And now, we'd like to feature.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Red Hot Underdogs. I am Anzac, and we are here today to talk sport, everything about sport and nothing about sport, which is the talking of the Rocky movies. And with me tonight is the expert on the Rocky movies, the ever incredible, long contained, often imitated, but never duplicated. It's Drew.
Hey, how you going, Joe?
I'm okay. It's 42 degrees outside.
It's very hot outside, about 40 degrees. So
And
glad I'm inside and
inside. Yep. Fans on, aircon's on. Life is good.
It is, and ready to wrap up this part 2 of the Rocky reviews.
Yeah.
And so,
could you summarize just like in a second what happened part 1 and what's going to happen in part 2? Is that okay?
That's fine. So part 1, we had the magical spit bucket, which is you got a top 5, the 5 best. There are 6 Rockies in the series. The worst one goes into the spit bucket. That was number 5.
5.
I stated that because I didn't think the street fight was particularly entertaining at the end, and Rocky finales probably belong in the ring, and that showed it. Not to mention the dodgy promoter that they tried to sort of take off the likeness of Don King that didn't age well and still doesn't age well now. What did I have? And then I had number 5, which I had Rocky 6. So that was just like Rocky fighting an exhibition. And it was a very much older Rocky. And all of a sudden the exhibition fight became into a real deal after the champ Mason the Lion Dixon broke his hand. Before then, Rocky getting plastered. And I said that was where it was because all the Rockies that had come before it had pretty much taken the steam out of the series. But that being said, it was a nice retrospective piece that looked back on certain moments and events and tied in fairly well given, that all the Rockies had come before it. So once again, a lot of the steam had been taken out of it.
So we're up to number 4.
Yep. Yeah, no, we did 4, which I said was number 2.
That's right. Yep. So we did.
And I said
bucket,
that was number
5.
Yeah.
And 4.
Yeah. That I put that at number 2 basically because that was a very good movie. Rocky lost the first fight against Apollo Creed in the first movie. So the second movie, you're always going to see Rocky win it. So it was always going to be fairly predictable.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got up to number 3, which I hadn't revealed yet.
Mm-hmm.
Before I start at number 3,
the third, not the third best, the first best, second best, so third prize.
Third best in the series.
Yep.
So what I'm about to say before we unveil the third is widely known amongst hardcore Rocky fans as, I would say, and I think the majority of Rocky fans would say, if you ask most of them, their favourites are either Rocky 1 or Rocky 4. So I'm just putting that out there before I continue my countdown. But usually most of them...
Why?
Well, they either like Rocky 1 because of its like nostalgic upbringing, and that's where the roots of Rocky began and his hardship, and it was a love story, and it brings back all the nostalgic memories of where all the Rockies began. And it's a really good movie, Rocky 1. So I can understand people having it their number 1. And then a lot of people think 4 is their favourite because they love the angle of Rocky fighting in Russia against a big steroid freak like Ivan Drago. They love the montages of his training in the snow, the redemption story, because he beats Drago, who beats his
Hey,
up.
was
up-
Drago taking steroids as well? Was that
That's
a
exactly right. That's exactly right. So number 1 and 4 are generally the favourites amongst most people. But in saying that, I will reveal number 3.
number 3? Rocky 4?
Yes, I have Rocky 4 at number 3.
Yeah, okay. Wow. All right. Well, you've spoken a little bit about Rocky 4 right now. Can you give a bit of a synopsis? Is that the right word?
Absolutely, it's the right word. So by this stage, Rocky and Apollo Creed are in their mid to late 30s and retired.
Yep.
And they're both enjoying retired life. All of a sudden, out of nowhere comes, not specifically out of nowhere because he had a decorated amateur career, but comes Olympic gold medalist and behemoth Ivan Drago.
Russian.
And he said, not only have I got the gold medal, not only am I a amateur prodigy, and not only am I huge and can destroy anything, I am coming to America. I'm coming to take the world titles, and Russia will be at the top of world boxing. And Apollo Creed is in his pool throwing tennis balls to his black poodles, and he's got like, and he's got this tiny 10 by 10 centimeter TV by the side of his pool.
Oh, yep.
And he's
Nice.
watching,
Yep.
and all of a sudden, a sports update comes on. Who is it? Ivan Drago.
Yep.
And his trainers. They say, this man is coming to take all the belts. He is coming to take over boxing. And Apollo Creed doesn't like this. So all of a sudden, he rings up Rocky and asks Rocky, hey man, can you train me? And Rocky's like, train you? Like, why would I want to train you? Apollo, we're retired. We can't do this no more. What are you talking about? I want to fight Drago. He goes, East versus West. They're coming to take the belts from the United States.
Yeah.
I want to show them that the United States is still the number one. We're still on top, baby.
Yeah.
And then Apollo drives over, meets up with Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian, Rocky's wife, says, Apollo, this isn't a good idea. Look at you. I love you both so much, but you're too old. You can't do this anymore. Someone's going to get hurt.
Yep.
And anyway, against Rocky's better wishes, Apollo Creed talks Rocky into training him.
Okay. Yep.
And Rocky's like, like, Apollo, you realize this is just like a one and done. I know you'll help me out, but this is it after this.
One and done. Yeah.
And Apollo Creed goes, I'll always think of something again, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm afraid of. Anyway, so they go into training, and there's a big press conference, and Apollo Creed gives Ivan Drago plenty of lip in the press conference.
Yep.
And Ivan Drago's just this big stoic behemoth.
Mm.
And anyway, they get to the fight night, and Ivan Drago enters the ring, and everyone's like, all right, cool. Where's Apollo? All of a sudden, R&B and blues singer James and rock and roll singer James Brown pops out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And starts singing Living in America.
Yeah, great song. Living in America. Wow.
Yeah. And so Apollo Creed all of a sudden descends from the roof.
Yeah, wow.
And there's fireworks and pyrotechnics and showgirls dancing around him. He's doing his little shuffle in his all-American shorts and his American top hat. And, he's living the dream, baby. He's doing his fucking thing.
Yeah.
So, anyway, unfortunately, it's not great because it's like, dude, if you're coming in with an entrance like this, you sure as hell better be bringing the fireworks.
Yeah.
All that bag of chips. Because if
Yeah.
you're not, this could turn very ugly.
Showboating. Showboating.
Oh, deluxe. Anyway, after all the hoopla, jazz bullshit and carry on, they get to the fight and they get to the middle of the rounds, and the referee says, touch gloves. And then Apollo goes to go bang and smash Ivan Drago's gloves down. He goes bang, and it just stays there. Like stone cold, frozen, stays there.
Okay,
He
so
does not. Yeah,
boom.
that's right. And Drago's gloves do not move.
Yeah, wow.
And you see Rocky just doing a side eye going, oh, Jesus, it might not be good. So, anyway, the first round starts and Apollo starts dancing around him and flicking out that jab and smashing him all around the face with this jab, and it's looking good. And you're like, wow, all right, well, okay. And he's making Drago look a bit clumsy. Then all of a sudden, with Drago missing a few and, Apollo Creed's jab working like a piston, suddenly Drago hits Apollo.
Yep.
And oh shit. It's like a cannonball going through a pirate ship.
Oh yeah, nice.
And Creed is just absolutely wobbled.
Yep.
And just suddenly getting plastered all over the ring. Hits the canvas again. And just getting smashed around the ring like a redheaded adopted stepchild. And then all of a sudden, it just becomes an unsightly beating. And it's still the first round. Finally, the first round rings. It's the end of it. Pardon me. Ding, ding. Rocky says, hey, yo, Apollo, this is not good. I got to get you out. You can't do this no more. No one's going to care. It's just an exhibition. No one's going to get you out of here. One more, Rock. Come on, Rock. We got this, Rock. Anyway, they go out to the second round. More of the same. Just a complete one-way Drago beat down over Creed. And Creed goes down again and gets up. And then all of a sudden, Creed's just getting smashed all over the gaff. And then Rocky's got the towel there in his hand, ready to throw the towel in.
Yep.
And Creed's trainer during the pro ranks was also in the corner saying, throw in the damn towel,
Yeah, wow, okay.
Rocky's got it in his hand, and all of a sudden, just before Rocky throws it in, he hasn't thrown it in yet, Drago hits Creed with his big shot, and Creed falls to the canvas face first like a tree falling in the forest.
Yeah, wow.
Then Rocky drops the towel, and then Creed starts having convulsions on the floor. Referee stops the fight. Everyone runs into the ring. And then you hear the famous words of Drago on the microphone. If he dies, he dies.
Oh, yep.
Died. So then all of a sudden...
Very insightful words. Very
Oh, yeah.
Well thought out.
Drago was a real wordsmith.
Yeah,
trust me.
Words. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't waste those words.
He dies.
So,
though, if he dies, he dies. It's true.
Correct. So then all of a sudden, Rocky turns up to the funeral. They have the big funeral, and then
So he dies.
Yeah, he does die.
Oh, he does die. Oh.
Creed dies.
Oh, okay. I thought you said if he dies, he dies. But he actually does die.
He does die. Apollo Creed dies.
Dies. Oh, wow.
Yeah, completely dead.
Dead as a
So
doormat.
dead as. So Rocky turns up to the funeral,
Yep.
and then after the funeral, about a few days later, Rocky's wife Adrian is getting home.
Mm.
And all of a sudden, news crews and everyone is there. And she's like, "What's going on? What do you think about your husband?" That they put a microphone in her face. "What do you think about your husband fighting Ivan Drago in Russia on Christmas Eve?" And she's like, "What? What are you talking about?" And then she goes in the house and rushes in the house. Heaps of news crew outside.
Mm.
She talks to Rocky later on that night after everyone's gone. She goes, "What's going on?" And then he's like, "Yeah, I'm fighting Apollo Creed."
Hang on,
And then,
fighting who?
oh, sorry, not Apollo Creed. He's dead.
Geez,
Thank
that'd be
you.
hard, you know?
Oh, that'd be impossible.
Yeah.
He'd be an unbackable favourite too.
Yeah.
So she goes, "I can't believe you're fighting Ivan Drago. Why are you doing that?" And then he's like, "It's for redemption, and he's my friend, and it's something I've got to do."
Hmm.
And they have this massive argument, and it's at night, and she's at the top of the stairway, and he's at the bottom of the stairway.
Hmm.
And then they have this big back and forth slanging argument, and then he's like, "You've never stopped me before. What are you so afraid of this time?" And then she goes, "You saw what he did to Apollo Creed.
Yep.
He killed him. He killed Apollo Creed." And then she goes, "I'm sorry, Rocky, but you can't win."
Mm.
And then he goes, "Maybe I can't win. Or maybe I can't win. Maybe you're right. But you know what? I'm going to have to find out for myself."
No.
Anyway, they have the big argument.
Yep.
And in the end, he goes off to Russia.
Yep. Christmas Eve.
Yes, and
Lots
then
of
leaves,
snow, cold.
leaves Adrian behind with the son.
Yep.
So he goes to Russia. Anyway, the Apollo Creed's old trainer goes, "You are going to have to work and train harder than you've ever had to train before. This is going to be an absolute nightmare for you. I hope you enjoy putting yourself through all this horse shit." And Rocky goes, "I know what I've got to do." So he's been training for quite a while.
Yep.
And a couple of weeks. And then one day when he gets back, he sees this figure in the distance.
Training in Philadelphia or training in Russia?
No, training in Russia.
Training in Russia. I thought you said that. Yeah. Because
he flew over to
Adrian,
the
kid, goes to Russia, trains in Russia.
Yeah, because that's where the fight is.
Yep.
So, anyway, he sees this figure in the distance. It's Adrian. She's gone to lend him support.
Oh, yep.
So,
nice.
left the kid back in America with some nanny / babysitter.
Yep.
Anyway, on comes the big montage. Rocky's running through the snow and, pulling horse carts through snowstorms.
Yeah.
And there's Drago in his new age gym, and it shows him running on carpeted floors and running up a step machine and all of this, and lifting heavy weights with
taking drugs, taking steroids.
And good you mentioned that, because in the movie, during the training montage, they actually show them putting a needle into his arm.
Yeah.
Into Drago's arm, let me preface that.
Yeah.
And then at the height of the montage, at the end, they show Rocky running all the way up to the summit of one of these snowy peaks.
Mm.
And he goes, "Roar!" And he puts up his hands. And anyway, they get to the fight night.
Yep.
And the place is absolutely packed in Russia.
Yep.
And just before they're walking out, Paulie, who's Adrian's brother and also Rocky's best friend.
Yep.
When they're walking out the tunnel, goes, "Yo, Rock, I've always been kind of annoying, and I haven't always been the best friend or easiest brother-in-law to get along with, but let me tell you, if I could unzip myself and be anyone right now in the whole world, I'd want to be you."
Oh.
And he looks at Paulie and he goes, "Thanks, Paulie." Anyway, they get to the ring, and
If I could be anyone, I'd want to be you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
and they get to the ring and they get to the national anthems.
Yep.
And then Drago enters the ring, and then he's standing right on the opposite side. And Paulie goes to Rocky. He goes, "Hey, yo, Rocky, about what I said in the tunnel, I take that back."
So he doesn't want to be him anymore.
Because Drago's so bloody huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all of a sudden, they fight, and Drago was beating 50 Shades of Grey out of him for
Wow.
The best part of, I don't know, 13 rounds, because back in the day it went to 15 rounds.
Yep.
So Rocky takes several knocks to the canvas, just getting absolutely smashed. But I will say this. After about the third or fourth round, Drago expected to have got Rocky out of there.
Yep.
And he returns to his corner and he says in Russian, "He is like a piece of iron." So Drago all of a sudden has this enormous respect for Rocky, because despite the fact that he's beating the absolute crap out of Rocky and Rocky's hit the canvas several times, Rocky just isn't going away.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, in one of the late rounds, Rocky hits Drago with his punch, and blood streams from his eye. Then Rocky gets this enormous sense of self-belief.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, Drago wipes his side of his face as if to think, "I'm human."
Yeah.
And Rocky's like, "Wow, he's human.
Take that.
Yeah. So anyway, Rocky goes pummeling him to the body. He's big on the body shots, and a couple more upstairs, and starts to tire out Drago, but mainly with a lot of body shots. Yep. And some good combos upstairs. Then finally, Rocky eventually knocks out Drago.
Yeah, wow. In the last round or so.
Yeah, and by this stage, the crowd is almost on Rocky's side, because they've seen the courage it's taken to stay in there with him and eventually win it. Yeah. And then at the end, Rocky just says some big speech in the ring, and part of it was to the crowd. "When I got here,
these kids are yelling at me. You keep talking. I'm going to go shut the door. Okay. Keep talking.
So all of a sudden, in the ring, Rocky goes, "When I turned up here tonight as a crowd, I didn't like you none much at the start, and I know you didn't like me none much either. But as the fight went on, I realized that if I can change and you can change, then we can all change." And then the crowd started going absolutely wild. So anyway, just as part of my synopsis, even though you've left the area, Julian, are you coming back? But that's okay. I'll keep going. As part of my synopsis, why I've got number 4 at number 3 is it was an awesome movie. And I love the redemption story about him coming back and avenging his trainer and ex-rival's defeat.
Oh, sorry,
So-
guys. I had my
That's okay.
the kids
I just quick.
screaming.
No, you're right. I'll just quickly go over why I've got it number 4.
Yep,
Oh, sorry, why I've got it number 3.
3.
So I've got number 4 at number
But number
3.
4 is number 3. Rocky 4, number 3.
Yes. Why I've got it number 3 is that I love the narrative that Rocky comes back and avenges his former rival and former trainer's defeat and his death. So it's the most enormous narrative of redemption.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the training montages, absolutely epic.
Yep.
So there are so many great things to like about this, but mainly that, the story of redemption, going through the hard journey, coming back from a difficult place and getting to a glorious place through hard work and through mental struggle. And because Rocky had to avenge that moment for Apollo Creed, it ticks all of those boxes. And it comes in at number 3. It only comes in at number 3 because the 2 before it were just a bit better. As hard as that is to believe, because the skeleton of that particular synopsis makes for a great movie.
Mm.
Okay. So, coming in at number 2.
Second best. Second place goes to Rocky. Rocky won.
Correct.
Hey, Rocky won. All right, that makes sense. I thought you were going to go Rocky and show number 3, but you didn't. You just showed Rocky.
So pretty much number 2 is giving away what number 1 will be.
Yeah,
That's
of course.
okay.
Yep.
Now, here's a lot of people's favourite of the whole series.
Mm.
And I can see why, because I love it too. So you got Rocky, who starts out as a journeyman fighter, and he's just fighting out there, just in the wilderness.
Yep.
And he's actually a standover man in his spare time.
Rocky.
Where, yeah, he collects debts for gangsters.
Mm.
Outside of earning a bit of money as a journeyman fighter.
Yep.
Who fights club fights, not even on TV. And out of nowhere, Apollo Creed, who is the world champion at this point,
Yep.
He's been beating everyone really easily.
Mm.
And I wouldn't say people are getting bored, but they need a new angle because ticket sales are down, his viewership is down, even though he's extremely charismatic.
Mm.
It's like, I need something here to sort of, you know, kickstart the numbers in my career and my profile and everything. And then he decides, I've got to give a Snow White underdog a chance.
Yeah.
Someone no one's ever heard of.
Mm.
And people might buy into the narrative and try and watch it.
Mm.
And so out of nowhere, he picks Rocky Balboa, the Italian.
Like, how does he know of him or hear of him? Or does it say
Now,
that?
I am so glad you asked that question.
Mm.
I'm extremely glad. Now, this isn't a method that would be done today. They didn't have the internet back then.
Yep.
And in hindsight, it seems a bit fictitious. But in the movie, they show Apollo Creed at his desk in his office with a great big book. And in the book had a whole list of names and records. And he was flicking the page to see who he'd go with.
Mm.
And so he'd go like, oh, this guy, John the Indian Chief Smith, with a record of such and such. No, I don't like him because he's too small and this and that and the other. And he's going through it with his handlers. Oh, this guy, you know, David the Removalist Jones. No, I don't like him because he's too clumsy and he's not a very good southpaw and he stunk out the joint last time. Anyway, he gets to Rocky the Italian Stallion Balboa. He goes, this guy, this is the one we need. The Italian Stallion
Italian style.
versus Apollo, the master of the disaster Creed. He goes, it sounds like a damn monster movie.
Yeah.
This is what we got to go with.
Yeah. So he just found it in a book of
found it in a simple as that.
Found his name in a book, like the sound of the Italian Stallion.
I guess it was kind of the easiest way they could kind of do it. It's kind of hard to make up a narrative how to choose a Snow White underdog, but
yeah.
But look, I guess it
kind of works. Before internet, what did you have?
Yeah.
Books.
That's right.
Yeah.
So anyway, Rocky's unsure about taking it at the start because he's just a journeyman who just fought club fights and always just worked as sparring partners and all sorts of things. Anyway, he's got a very strained relationship with his longtime trainer, but his longtime trainer talks him into fighting Apollo Creed, and Rocky's like, all right, well, cool, I'll do it. And Rocky kind of wanted to as well. He's sort of sitting on the fence, but anyway, they both decide, all right, well, let's put this to the test. And the movie is more like a love story rather than an actual account of him fighting Apollo Creed, even though he fights Apollo Creed at the end, because a lot of it is just about him going from rags to riches.
Yep.
He starts trying to chat up Adrian, who becomes his future wife. And
so he meets her in Rocky 1.
Yeah, and she works in a pet store.
Oh, yep.
And he used to come by after training every day to try and chat her up and talk to her. And
he didn't start buying dogs and cats and mice and
tell us some corny jokes. No, he did buy some fish off her.
Oh, yep.
And
and
he got his dog from the pet store, Bubba's.
Yep.
And so.
And he should get his dog food from there, or does he get his dog food from the supermarket? Probably. You know.
Oh, probably. Yeah. Yeah, they didn't really show that part in the movie, but probably.
I'm sure he buys it for his dog, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us about the fight between him and Apollo at the end. So he's met Adrian. So is she?
Yeah.
You know what he does and stuff, and.
Yeah. They go through all that, and then at the end, he faces Apollo, and Apollo Creed starts whipping him at the start.
Yep.
Of course, Rocky does his customary trip to the canvas, like all movies. He always goes to the canvas a couple of times during each movie. But by the end of it,
you know what? Hold the thought. I'm going to have to zoom you back.
Yep.
About 5 minutes because this is about to run out of time. Is that okay? And we'll finish it up.
Okay.
So it's actually going to be 3 parts. This.
All right.
Because you can't wrap this up and wrap the next one up in 30 seconds. So see you in part 3.
All right. Later. Bye.
5 minutes.
See ya. Right.
Okay.
Bye. Bye.